Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Live from Orchestra Hall. My name is Alex Trajano, and we have got an amazing and special show for you today based around the Sphinx competition, okay? So much going on here at Orchestra Hall yesterday. We had a great concert with Hans Graf and Benjamin Schmidt. They've been doing neighborhood concert series, and boy, they're getting ready for a big tour in Florida, which you can find out more about later. I'll give you details on that. But also, the Sphinx organization has been very busy in the area. We've had the annual Sphinx Con, which is bringing, it's a 3-day conference that brings together educators from around the country to sort of to explore the expansion of diversity in the arts. It's a very cool organization, and the Sphinx competition is happening right here today, live at Orchestra Hall. We've had the junior division, and today is the senior division finals. So we'll get to meet some of the musicians, and some other exciting things will be happening throughout today. We're also streaming live, and for you local audiences, you can go to DPTV's channel 56, and also we'll be doing some streaming on that later on at www.dptv.org, so check that out for updates and such. We have a lot to get to, but right now let's talk to my first guest today, conductor Brandon Keith Brown.
Hi.
Meister Brown, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Alex.
This is a really exciting day. Can you tell people about the mission of the Sphinx organization?
Well, one of the missions is to highlight talent of Black and Latino youth in the United States and give them a platform to launch them on the next phase of their career. And I believe in the senior round really launch them on a major career.
Tell us about the format of today's concert. How does it work exactly with the competitors?
Well, we'll have the competitors first. They'll all go one after each other. Then I believe that there's an intermission where there'll be deliberation. We'll bring back the first prize winner of our junior division, a fantastic cellist named Sterling Elliott, and he'll do the last movement of Lalo. And then we'll follow that. I believe there's another break, and we'll have the awards, and followed by the Shaheen Concerto for Oud.
Yeah.
That should be really something new for the audience.
Exciting. I'm curious as to how these really talented young people, like where are they from? How do they get to this point today?
Well, I don't know the individual stories of everyone, but in general, I think any serious musician that plays at this level has probably a similar experience where you start very, very young. I don't think there's any other career where you have to start when you're 6, 7 years old preparing for that, and probably sacrificing a great bit, probably not being able to go out with your friends and play soccer or football or whatever because you have to practice and work extremely hard, many hours every single day to make sure that you can reach the level that you need to be successful.
The age group of the senior division is what is their various ages? Like up to 18, or is it?
The senior division, actually, I believe it's 18 to 27.
Oh, okay.
First, I could be wrong, but I believe that's a pretty wide age range.
But nevertheless, we're catching these people in a very certain vulnerable time in their lives. They're making decisions about what their future is going to hold. So thus, when they find that place, that's where the sacrifice comes, and that's where the hours and hours of practice come in.
That's true, but actually, honestly, the senior players, the senior musicians are not very seasoned, but they're pretty seasoned.
Okay.
I mean, they're pretty darn good. I mean, the audience is getting a very professional level of performance from our senior musicians. Yes, they're young. I think they're all in their early 20s, but they're pretty good.
Backing up to the junior division a little bit, how many of those kids have sort of made a decision that this is going to be their professional life growing up? Is that kind of the general thing across the board, or do some people not really go that far?
Well, it would be interesting to see what happens. You know, there's a lot of music. The beautiful, wonderful thing about music and studying music, it prepares you for a lot of different disciplines. And discipline is the key word. I mean, music, I think, has I'm biased, but has the most supreme form of discipline. So maybe they won't continue, maybe they will. Maybe they'll become excellent surgeons. Maybe they'll become top-notch attorneys. There's nothing wrong with that. We don't know what the future holds for them.
Right.
They may change, careers. I know a lot of violinists who studied violin, won lots of competitions, who were soloists, but they also went to Harvard and studied biochemistry, and then they did pre-med.
Right.
I mean, these kids are I think they're very brilliant from my opinion, and they're certainly probably very multi-talented academically, not just musically. So who knows what they'll be doing.
You've yourself been quite busy in Europe and the States. You've also done some stuff here in Detroit. Tell us about your recent experiences conducting and working with musicians in Detroit.
Yes, last month, my second time in Detroit, I performed at Martin Luther King High School, which is great. honoring, of course, the late Dr. Martin Luther King.
Mm-hmm. How did that go? How was that?
It was fantastic. Audience was extremely accepting and very knowledgeable too. Very knowledgeable of some of the pieces we were doing. It was a really uplifting and fantastic experience to find with high school kids that were really interested in classical music. They listened. They were quiet. They were well behaved. They were attentive.
What about upcoming for you outside of this? When this is over today, where can some of our viewers see some performances you're involved in the future?
Well, I don't have any. Let's see. I don't have any recent performances, but I just got finished with a tour. Actually, kind of a big tour of Germany. 7 concerts I did in Eastern Germany. I just got back Monday from that, and then I have this, and I have a faculty appointment at UMass Amherst.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us, Maestro
Thank you.
Brown.
It's an
We look forward
honor.
to it. All right. Be
Thank
well.
you.
Okay, folks, we're going to be right back with Principal Cellist Carlos Rodriguez right after this. All right, folks, we're back, and joining me now is Principal Cellist Carlos Rodriguez. Carlos, thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure.
Let's get to know you a little bit. So you're the Principal Cellist of the Sphinx organization. I'm guessing that you have a lot of other things going on. Tell us a little bit about your musical journey.
Well, basically, my involvement with Sphinx is that I am a member of the Catalyst Quartet. I'm the cellist of the Catalyst Quartet, which is Sphinx's premier chamber ensemble. And with that, I help to run the Sphinx Performance Academy, which is the summer music program that's held at Oberlin College and at Northwestern University. And actually, the junior division first place laureate this year was a student at the Sphinx Performance Academy, which is where we first met him. So it's really exciting for us to have him there. And I play in the Sphinx Symphony as part of that whole.
What brought you to the Sphinx organization? Were you part of the competitions early
I was
on?
part of the competition. I believe I competed in 2003. And that was so this is like my 10th anniversary, being here.
Wow.
So it's exciting.
So clearly that mission is something that resonates with you. You've been here for a while.
It does, but more than that, I think the biggest exciting fun thing about Sphinx is that when you do the competition, it's unlike any other competition that I've ever participated in,
How so?
either in a string quartet or as a soloist. You sort of enter what we like to call La Familia, the Sphinx family, and it's a very special, fun place. So that alone keeps you around because you just want to be with your friends and make music together, and it's really exciting.
What was it like for you growing up developing your skills? We talked a lot about the hours and hours spent at a young age making sacrifices when friends are out playing. You're in a small room.
I had no friends, no. I grew up in Miami, Florida, and my family's Cuban, and people are out playing, but it's hot there, so they're often in the air conditioned inside. So the choice to practice was not a hard one. But I was not one of those kids that was forced to practice and forced to work hard. For some reason, I just liked doing it. And so I started at a very early age, and it was just the thing I wanted to do. And the great thing about doing what I do, playing chamber music, is that you get to still hang out with your friends and make music with them. So it's sort of like you're playing with your friends, but you're working.
Right, it's like being in a band or something.
Yeah, it's exactly like being in a band.
There's not 30 of you on stage where you're all, okay.
Yeah.
So when young people come to you and they say that this is something I want to pursue, what kind of advice do you give them? What do you tell them?
I happen to be I'm a Simon Cowell when it comes to that sort of thing.
Oh, really? You're just
I'm
blunt.
known for that. Yeah, I'm known for that. But what I do say is that not everyone's going to be a soloist. Not everyone's going to play in a major symphony orchestra. Not everyone's going to play in a great American string quartet. But that doesn't mean you can't have a life in music. Anyone can have a life in music. If you love music, there is a way for you to participate in that. And that's really the message I like to send to anyone asking me for advice or direction. It's like, if you love music, find a way to make it part of your life, and there are many outlets.
So yeah, I mean, have you ever, when you do have to have these sort of blunt conversations with somebody, I'm sure there's an aspect of tough love in there. Maybe it turns them around. Maybe they go in a different direction from that. That must be pretty hard to have that conversation sometimes.
It is hard, but I often think back to the conversations that I had growing up with my teachers, and some of them who are not with us anymore. And I really, every day, think about what they told me, and none of them were easy on me. They were all difficult, and they all gave me great guidance. And I didn't want to hear it sometimes, but I took it all in, and it seemed to work out okay for me. And so I try to pay it forward in that respect.
Right. I think there is a certain point where you do have to be stern with folk just to keep it real, Yeah. So, speaking of diversity, you're from New York City right now.
I live in New York. Yeah.
There isn't a much more diverse place in the world. How does
Except for the Rensen right now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
How does that play into sort of your musical feel, your approach? Being in such a diverse place, it's hard to get around. There's so much to it.
See, I like to think of New York City as like a true democracy, in the sense that there are so many people from so many different parts of the world that have to coexist in this small place, and somehow it works out. And somehow everyone has to get along and be civil and try and enjoy themselves and be productive in their lives and with their families. And it's all happening together and on top of one another. But it works out. And I think that that's really exciting, and it's very diverse. And it's a great model for civilization. If you enjoy New York, not
you enjoy civilization.
Not everyone enjoys New York City, but I happen to love it. I've lived there for 13 years now.
So just in closing, what kind of stuff is on your turntable, so to speak, right now? What are you listening to that's not classically oriented?
I never listen to classical music.
You don't? Interesting.
I don't listen to classical music that I can play. If I'm listening to classical music, it's usually Bach or something like that. He never wrote string quartets, even though we actually, the Catalyst Quartet just arranged a Bach string quartet. But I'm listening to a lot of world music, what you'd call, I guess, a lot of tango music, a lot of South American samba music, bossa nova, French pop music. I listen to a lot of that stuff, which is exciting because of today's concert. We have a great oud player, and it's a really exciting thing to hear that other musical texture that you can then work with outside of the norm. So that's what I like. I like to listen to the other, I guess you'd say.
Very cool. It's great to meet you.
Thank you.
Looking forward to the concert. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Live from Orchestra Hall is presented by the Ford Motor Company Fund and made possible by the generous support of the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation. Today we're streaming live at DPTV's Channel 56, also at dso.org/live, okay? So these webcasts are made possible by you, so please show your support. Go to dso.org/donate and do your part to keep these webcasts coming to you free and in such high quality and demand. It's coming up here. So also don't forget to join us online on Twitter at Detroit Symphony, or use the hashtag DSOLive. Post all your comments on our Facebook page. We got a big concert for you today. We're going to talk some more about the DSO invading Florida, and we'll see you at the intermission show with Simon Shahid. Enjoy.
Good afternoon and welcome to the 17th Annual Sphinx Competition's Finals Concert presented by DTE Energy Foundation. At this time, we request that you silence all cellular phones and refrain from any photographs or excessive noise. In addition, we ask that with your applause, you invite each laureate back on stage only once for additional recognition. Please note that this afternoon, our audience will have the opportunity to vote for the Audience Choice Award winner. You may choose from the 3 competing senior laureates only. Please stay tuned for the mobile phone texting instructions, which will appear on the screen directly after the 3rd laureate's performance. Thank you very much for your consideration. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Maestro Brandon Keith Brown and our first laureate, 19-year-old Xavier Foley from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Maestro Brandon Keith Brown and our second laureate, 21-year-old Nicholas Mariscal from Tucson, Arizona. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Maestro Brandon Keith Brown and our third laureate, 20-year-old Clayton Penrose Whitmore from Springfield, Illinois. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, voting will begin for the Audience Choice Award. For the next 10 minutes, you will be able to place your vote following the instructions on the screen, and the winner will be announced following the 15-minute intermission.
Welcome back, folks. You're watching the Sphinx competition live here at Orchestra Hall, and that was the senior division. Right now, though, joining me is the winner of the junior division, a cellist, and he's 14 years old. His name is Sterling Elliott. Sterling, thanks for joining me right now.
Hey, no problem.
I'm curious, what brought you to the cello? What brought you to this world of music?
Well, my mom, her dream was always to have a family string quartet, and I was the last one born, and we needed a bass, I guess, in the family. And she already had a cello waiting for me before I was even born, so I was destined to it.
When did you guys actually start performing as a family? I mean, you're 14 now, so I'm guessing it was much earlier.
Yeah, I started playing when I was 3, and we started playing with our quartet when I was about 4 years old. So.
Wow, that's amazing. Like, it's really astounding to see somebody your age to have that kind of talent, and it's just remarkable to think of the sacrifice you made, the amount of time you've practiced. Let's talk a little bit about the preparation that took you to your winning performance 2 days ago. Tell us what that preparation was like.
Well, it was definitely intense. You can't just blow off something as big as this. So I just did a bunch of competitions and concerts to get judges' comments and for advice. And then I just dropped everything else I was working on just to make sure I could get this as best as possible.
Right. So that was sort of a way also to build up your competition chops, to kind of work with the energy and maybe the nervous energy and all the excitement that goes along with it. Kind of helps you kind of temper it and keep yourself cool, right?
Yeah.
Wow. So how do you, what motivates you? What keeps you disciplined to work so hard to be as good as you are?
Well, now I guess I can motivate and discipline myself a bit more, but my mom, she stays on top of me and makes sure I get my stuff done, and she's really made me what I've become today, so I'm very appreciative of that. But
wow, that's really nice. And I heard too that your dad surprised you today and showed up. That's kind of special.
Like about 2 hours ago, he came in my room, just surprised me. It was
that's really
awesome.
Cool. And where are you guys from? You're from
Newport News, Virginia.
Okay, so lots of time inside, lots of time outside. When's the best time for you to practice? When do you do most of your work? Like, I know you probably have homework stuff to do too. Like, how do you balance all that out?
Right when I come home from school every day, it's practice for 3 hours no matter what. That's just how it is. And then I do my work after that, and then I just relax.
Tell us what's going on now that the competition's over. Things are going to change for you. A lot of opportunities that are coming your way. What's next for you?
Hopefully, I get some opportunities to solo with different orchestras. That would be the most exciting thing, and then I'll just be practicing for that and see what else is going to come my way.
That's cool. That's really exciting. I'm curious, what kind of stuff do you listen to that's outside of the classical world? I mean, you're 14 years old. A lot of your friends probably don't share all of the same musical tastes you do. What kind of stuff's in your listening device right now? If you have an iPod or whatever on your iTunes or something, what are you listening to right now?
I mostly just listen to hip hop from the 90s or just pop.
Really? What song pops in your head right now that you love? What's your favorite tune right now? Your favorite hip hop tune right now?
Clap Your Hands by A Tribe Called Quest.
That's great. Sterling, it's really cool to meet you. Congratulations on your win. It's going to be really exciting for you. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have been producing a 3-part mini-series here at Live from Orchestra Hall called People, Place, and Purpose. And we're going to show you these little pieces throughout these webcasts that you see. But right now we're going to give you a little inside peek onto a place we call home, which is the Max M. Fisher Music Center right here in Midtown Detroit. Check it out.
Here we are, being able to be part of what is an incredible resurgence and reimagining and rejuvenation, I think, right here in the city. Not only is the campus special, its placement in the city is special.
The Midtown area was in the early stages of evolving into what you see today and what is now one of the 2 or 3 most vibrant and viable neighborhoods in the city.
I think that we've all seen a much more robust engagement with the neighborhood. The DSO, I think, continues as it evolves its programs. It also, I think, has evolved a lot of partnerships and enthusiasm among its own staff for Detroit and what's happening here.
The Max is a wonderful opportunity to stretch our bounds with programming like the Mix at the Max, bringing new, not just genres of music into our lives, but people who would not customarily come to a symphonic performance have been inspired to come on a monthly basis in droves to the Mix of the Max.
I get this buzz, this excitement about the Detroit Symphony Orchestra from people in the community.
You have to acknowledge that we are not just centered in Detroit. We have 7 venues around the community and the region that are offering opportunities for the musicians to play in places that are perhaps more convenient for our market.
Yeah, people are really enthusiastic. It's great. I mean, there's a wonderful energy, and particularly in the some of the neighborhoods that we've gone to that are a little bit further out, where it's probably a little bit more difficult for people to come downtown.
Then we have several special, unique initiatives where we're actually out in smaller settings, performing for various constituencies.
We're creating new relationships with new people all the time. And when we go into assisted living homes or we go into hospitals, the Children's Hospital, we're meeting new audiences and we're making new relationships and connecting with people that in ways that we never did before. So the digital experience opens up the doors to have relationships with people all over the world. And I know for a fact that that's what it's doing. I know people who say they watch our webcasts every single week. They can't wait for them to come up. It feeds their souls that we're there for them.
It's presented in a high quality way and people can connect to it immediately all over the world if they can't make it down to the hall. And Charles Greenwell is with me and he provides all this historical perspective that you're not going to get even if you came down to the hall. So there is that little bit of a bonus. So it's sort of a bridge. It connects people in a way that really speaks to what's happening with technology right now and the way people are consuming arts and media. And it's just really enriching and rewarding and fun for me to be part of that.
You know, and the fact that we can bring this type of music in all kinds of genres to Detroit and the region and now throughout the world.
The trip to Carnegie Hall was one of the most inspiring and powerful times for us.
Part of a great city are its cultural institutions.
We see the destiny of Detroit as really being the sort of the standard bearer from a creative standpoint for the reinvention of Detroit.
And joining me now is Simon Shahid. He's an oud and violin virtuoso. Mr. Shahid, thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome.
Great to have you back in Detroit.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of our audience, or some of the audience, might not know what an oud is. Can you give them a little bit of description of the instrument, what it's like, the sounds it makes, maybe a brief history?
It is the forerunner of the lute, the European lute. It looks the same, except that on the oud we don't have frets on the fingerboard.
Okay.
And therefore, it's possible to perform not only jazz and Western music on the oud, but mainly Middle Eastern music with microtones, those notes that fall
the ones
between the black and white. Yes.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the different stuff you do. I mean, you do some jazz stuff. I've heard some of those records that you've made. Tell us about your scope and your variety in music.
It's about music in the final analysis, and music is a language that I relate to it internationally. I grew up with the Western classical music, traditional Arabic music, American jazz, and many other genres. Therefore, it helped me to compose in a way that could be very traditional or Western classically oriented, but at the same time where you meld several cultures together and you create, in a way, a new genre. In New York, we call it fusion, which is cheap description.
Yeah.
But you know, it is what it is. Yes.
Yeah. So the piece that you're writing today is for a large group. I mean, you also write for smaller ensembles, and today you're obviously writing a concerto of sorts. Give us a description of the piece that we're going to hear today.
Yeah, it's a concerto for oud, 3 movements. Tonight, I mean, today we'll play only the last movement.
Okay.
But it was commissioned by the Detroit Symphony Orchestra, and we performed it 3 years ago.
Okay.
At the first time at the Festival of Colors, and then I was asked to come back and perform it in their series the year after.
The concert series here at Orchestra
Correct,
Hall.
correct. And I have been performing this piece all over the world. I performed in Italy, in Greece, in Lebanon, in Egypt. So it is a new work that brings the oud with orchestral sound, as opposed to piano with orchestra, violin with orchestra. It's the oud with the orchestra.
Right.
And you know, it's understanding the instruments, how it sounds, the projection, the technicalities of the instruments, and then the orchestration. It's a big part of it.
Yeah, it must be an interesting thing to orchestrate oud with, you know, with the orchestra. There's a lot of different colors that you can mix together. That must have been really fun too.
Definitely amazing colors, but at the same time we have to be careful about the projection of the instrument. The oud is not piano. It's not a violin that has a big projection.
Okay.
So the orchestration and the layers has to be very delicate, and that works with the instrument.
What kind of things have you been doing, maybe outside of composing? Maybe you're working on some new pieces. What are you up to these days? Like, what's next for you after today's performance, let's say?
We are finishing recording now recently, and I have my own group, Contra, in the recording, including also a few students from Berklee College of Music, who are my students at the school. So, and the recording should be probably done by the end of April.
Okay, wonderful. Well, it's great to meet you. We're looking forward to a great performance.
Definitely, I look forward.
Thank you very much for joining us today. Ladies and gentlemen, Live from Orchestra Hall is presented by the Ford Motor Company Fund and made possible by the generous support of the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, and is produced in collaboration with Detroit Public Television. These webcasts are made possible by you, our global audience, so please show your support by going to dso.org/live and make a small contribution to the DSO's General Fund, and we'll keep bringing you this webcast for free whenever we can. Okay? Join the conversation right now on Twitter using the hashtag DSOLive or at Detroit Symphony. It's really exciting for us to know where you're listening from and what you think of today's performance. You're probably going to hear music that you haven't heard before, such as the oud concerto we're about to hear soon, and you're seeing a lot of new faces that will become the future of classical music here with the Sphinx competition. That's going to be very exciting. And also post all your comments on our Facebook page. Right now the DSO is embarking on a big tour of Florida. Right now backstage there's big trunks with instruments getting put in there, and trucks are being loaded, and they're going to invade the warm, sunny shores of Florida pretty soon here. I wish we could go, but we can't. But anyways, it's going to be a lot of fun. You can go to dso.org/Florida and check it out, and come see some of your people here from Detroit visiting you in Florida and playing some great music for you there. Also very exciting, on March 8th, Live from Orchestra Hall will be back. I'll be here with Charles Greenwell, and we're going to do the Classical Roots with superstar Kathleen Battle. It's going to be very exciting. So my thanks to everybody involved in the Sphinx competition, everybody backstage here at Orchestra Hall, and all the fine folks at Detroit Public Television. My name's Alex Trajano. I hope you enjoy the rest of the concert, and we'll see you really soon. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Jennifer Corman of Mercedes-Benz Financial Services to present the Audience Choice Award winner.
Good afternoon. I am so honored to be here with you today at the Sphinx Competition Finals. Mercedes-Benz Financial Services is proud to present the 3rd Annual Audience Choice Award, and we hope you've enjoyed the opportunity to participate in this interactive experience. As always, I know it was not an easy decision to make. At Mercedes-Benz Financial Services, we embrace art and diversity wholeheartedly. We constantly seek fresh and dynamic ways of thinking and working, and we consider this approach critical to how we succeed in business and engage with our communities. Our work with the Sphinx organization, through both our Overture after-school educational program and today's competition, quite literally changed the way people see the world and the opportunities that await them. We are proud of the decade-long partnership we have shared with the Sphinx organization, and I thank you all for being a part of that today. So now it is my distinct honor to announce this year's Audience Choice Award winner. The winner of the Audience Choice Scholarship Award of $1,500 in the 17th Annual Sphinx Competition Senior Division is Xavier Foley.
Please welcome Maestro Brandon Keith Brown and this year's Junior Division First Place Laureate, 14-year-old Sterling Elliott from Newport News, Virginia.
I may be only 15 years old, but already the Sphinx organization has changed my life. I'm Randall Gooseby, and I was fortunate to be the 2010 Junior Division First Place Laureate of the annual Sphinx competition.
In literally all of the musical environments that I found myself in, from starting the violin at the age of 5, all the way up through working on my degrees at the University of Michigan, I was the only minority, or maybe one of less than a handful. In addition, anytime I'd go to an orchestra concert, I'd look on stage, I'd look around me in the audience, and wonder, why is there no one who looks like me?
That all began to change when Aaron created the Sphinx organization in 1997. At that time, only about 1.5% of orchestras were Black or Latino. Today, thanks to Sphinx, that number has more than doubled. The earliest alums grew out of the first Sphinx competition, the flagship event of the Sphinx organization.
The level of talent is wonderfully high, and I've heard some first-class young players who are destined to go far in the field.
They are accompanied by the remarkable Sphinx Symphony Orchestra, the first and only professional Black and Latino orchestra in the world. Sphinx supports its participants in many ways.
Our artists have gone on to bring incredible contributions to our field. Every year in our nation's capital, we celebrate extraordinary musicians of color with the highest honor that Sphinx bestows, our medals of excellence.
Laureates perform as soloists with major orchestras, and through the creation of new and exciting chamber ensembles, Sphinx is introducing its talented alumni to the world.
And let your ear be your guide. I think the Sphinx organization is so incredibly important. What I love about this organization is that it tries to achieve in our society an equilibrium of people who are incredibly talented and motivated to be part of every aspect of our society, including musical society. Talent does not pick demographics.
We've been able to have a tremendous impact here in the United States. And as we looked at some of the opportunities for our artists, we began to even look across the seas and abroad.
Sphinx UK is Southbank Centre's first international partner. As we've looked abroad at various potential partners, it all comes down to 3 or 4 great projects around the world, of which Sphinx is one.
This kind of change starts with education, a critical part of everything Sphinx does.
So many studies really advocate for arts education, music education in school because of the positive effect that it has on academic achievement and scholastic aptitude. The arts are great for them. They spark intellectual curiosity and they spark creativity. With that in mind, Sphinx has created Sphinx Stars, a competition to showcase Detroit's greatest talents in all musical genres and cultural backgrounds.
The Sphinx Overture program introduces young people in underserved communities to violin performance. Instrument usage and lessons are provided free of charge. Helping to further those dreams, the Sphinx Performance Academy provides an intensive summer education program at Sphinx partner institutions in Chicago and in Ohio.
The Sphinx Performance Academy is a tuition-free summer music program for minority youth aged 12 to 17. It gets instruction in private lessons and quartet playing, and it culminates in a final concert on the last day of each program.
Sphinx is more than just an organization promoting minorities in classical music. It's a movement, one being recognized by media outlets around the world. From the halls of the White House, where Sphinx founder Aaron Dworkin recently became President Barack Obama's appointee to the National Council on the Arts, to Sphinx laureate performances and partnerships abroad, the Sphinx organization is being noticed.
In our first 15 years, we've been able to literally transform the lives of tens of thousands. And now, Sphinx Con is bringing together global leaders from across the performing arts sector and beyond as we empower ideas for diversity in the arts. But there is tremendous work that still needs to be done.
I'm just in awe of what Sphinx has accomplished, but even more excited about its future.
I am Sphinx.
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 And now, ladies and gentlemen, the founder and president of the Sphinx organization, Aaron Dworkin.
Good afternoon, and thank all of you for joining us for the 17th annual Sphinx Competition Finals concert. Trying to age myself. And we're thrilled that this year was made possible by the DTE Energy Foundation and the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation. As you can see, yes. As you can see from the cameras around the hall, we are currently streaming this concert live around the world, and we'll be able to share what you are experiencing this afternoon with tens of thousands through the broadcast on Detroit Public Television, also made possible by the DTE Energy Foundation and Fifth Third Bank, who I want to thank for their commitment to our mission. The concert will actually be broadcast on Monday, March 24th at 10 p.m., and again on Sunday, March 30th at 2 p.m. I also want to appreciate the Detroit Symphony Orchestra and the Max, not only for sharing their world-class venue with us, but also for sharing their long-standing commitment to diversity through their own African American Fellowship Program, as well as their Classical Roots series, which will take place on March 8th, and I encourage all of you to join Sphinx in supporting this important initiative. And now I would like to take this opportunity to recognize the semifinalists and junior division laureates of this year's Sphinx competition. These young, talented musicians were selected from numerous auditions around the country, and their incredible level of achievement in reaching this phase of the competition must be acknowledged. Will you all stand to be recognized? I would also like to thank our screening committee and our finals jurors who preside over the semifinal rounds of the competition and this afternoon's concert. Our finals jury, whose bios you can review in our program, are seated in the balcony and include Paul Katz, Ida Cavafian, Charles Letourneau, Donald McInnes, Sonia Marie de Leon de Vega, Kathy Winkler, and Melissa White. Thank you for your generosity, your expertise, and your commitment. Thank you. The life of the arts, far from being an interruption, a distraction in the life of the nation, is very close to the center of a nation's purpose and is a test of the quality of a nation's civilization. The words of President John F. Kennedy echo in my mind as we work every day at Sphinx to ensure that the arts reflect the rich mosaic that comprises the diverse tapestry of the American people. I would now like to ask our laureates and representatives of Sphinx's major partners to come to the stage for the presentation of our finals jury's decision. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, the winners of the 17th Annual Sphinx Competition. Here to present our third place award is Katie Locker, Detroit Program Director of the Knight Foundation, longtime supporter of Sphinx's mission and programs.
On behalf of the Knight Foundation, I want to congratulate each of the finalists who participated in today's program. You weren't just making music, you were feeding our spirits and our minds. At Knight, we believe the arts are the highest form of human expression. They celebrate the diversity of our community, they describe beauty, they engage, and they inspire. The arts lift the soul of our communities, explain the way we feel, and bind us together as we make our way forward into the future. For these reasons, Knight Foundation is proud to support the Sphinx organization, the artists, and the performances we have heard here today. And now it is my pleasure to announce the third place winner. The winner of the third place scholarship award of $10,000 in the 17th Annual Sphinx Competition Senior Division is Nicholas Mariscal.
Here to present our second place award is Charlie Gandy Thompson of the General Motors Foundation, supporter of our Sphinx Classical Connections program and home to the Sphinx organization itself.
Good afternoon. It is such a pleasure to be here in Orchestra Hall today. The GM Foundation is proud of the partnership we have with Sphinx nationally and right here in the city of Detroit. In New York, we work together to fuel the imagination of young students who experience classical music through our curriculum and visiting Sphinx artists. Here at home, again, we're honored to house the Sphinx at the General Motors Renaissance Center. Through its investment in the education and of the arts, the GM Foundation is committed to developing the next generation of leaders, innovators, and as you see today, performing artists. Through our partnership with Sphinx, we are so proud to contribute to such meaningful work. And I have the privilege of presenting the second place. The winner of the second place scholarship award of $20,000 in the 17th Annual Sphinx Competition Division is Clayton Penrose Whitmore.
It is my distinct pleasure to introduce our final award presenter. The DTE Energy Foundation has generously supported the Sphinx organization's efforts to enrich the lives of young people in our community for over a decade. As the lead presenter of the entire Sphinx competition, the DTE Energy Foundation has clearly demonstrated its commitment to education and diversity, and I am honored to introduce to you Joanne Chavez, here to present the first place award.
Good afternoon. It is such a joy to be here with you today. The DTE Energy Foundation is proud to present the 17th Annual Sphinx Competition, and we continue to be amazed by the talent and dedication of the musicians that appear on this stage each year. Just as they are committed to the music, each and every day, we at DTE Energy are committed to serving and strengthening our community each and every day. We do so with the energy we provide, and we do so by supporting the incredible efforts of community partners like the Sphinx organization. Together, we are creating the rich cultural environment that benefits all of us today, as well as providing opportunities that truly make a brighter future possible for the generations to come. We thank all of you for joining us here today, and we congratulate the Sphinx organization for continuing to transform lives through the power of diversity. It is now my honor to present the first place Senior Division Scholarship Award of the 17th Annual Sphinx Competition. The winner of the first place scholarship award of $50,000 in the 17th Annual Sphinx Competition Senior Division is Xavier Foley.
Thank you again to our laureates and our presenters. Thank you all. After 17 years, you'd think I would be able to emotionally handle this moment, but it's very tough. The concept of a cultural ambassador, a successful entrepreneur, social justice champion, and consummate artist merely begin to define the man I now introduce to you. He embodies extraordinary versatility with that rare degree of excellence in all of his endeavors. He is the recipient of the National Endowment for the Arts National Heritage Award, 11-time Grammy nominee, founder and artistic director of 2 ensembles, a consummate mentor to countless young artists worldwide, eminent professor at Berklee College of Music, and this year's recipient of Detroit's own Arthur L. Johnson Memorial Award. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in offering our own Detroit welcome to our featured guest artist, composer, violin, and oud virtuoso, Simone Shaheen, joined by the Sphinx Symphony under the direction of Brandon Keith Brown. Thank you.